Hello, this is DIY with Donna, and this video is on how to remove wooden balusters from the stairs and install iron balusters. Really, this is going to be DIY with Donna and Will because my husband did a lot of the work. What I will go over is the design plan. Also looking at how we remove the wooden. We were going to cut them, but eventually we were able to preserve the wooden balusters, and then also measuring and cutting the iron balusters, and then eventually installing with the method of tap and twist. So let's get started. So in counting the balusters, I have 13 going down the steps and another 5 that have the slant or pitch baluster. And then the rest of them are straight up and down. And measuring them, the slants are about 28 inches and the flat straight ones are 34 inches. So this is the way that I want my pattern. I call it double square, straight, straight, double square. And then again, I would have straight, straight over here. Here I've marked where the square bolsters need to be cut so they can fit where these old bolsters were. So the first method to remove the wooden baluster was to cut the wood in half, but there was a screw at the bottom. And so my husband tried to drill it out. It started smelling like smoke, and it was very hard, and it took a long time. And we definitely needed to remove it in order to put the new iron baluster in it. The second method was to remove the entire banister and then remove that screw from the top of the screw. This would allow us to preserve the wooden baluster without cutting it. So it's a square.
It's a driver with a, I guess you can call it a screwdriver with a square bit on it for this particular screw. No guarantee if someone else does this, it'll have a square head, but a square interface on the head of the screw.
So that's a square bit tool?
Square bit, yeah. Square bit drive, I'm not sure what you call it. Look on the package.
So we were able to save the wooden balusters, which my daughter was able to use, and Will was able to put the banister back in place. So I have two designs, a double square and straight iron balusters. Using tape, I marked in red where they needed to be cut. Then we went to the garage and got them cut. So real quickly, I just want to show you the tap and twist apparatus. Here at the bottom, this is the bottom. This is after you drill a hole in the bottom, this is what you put into it. And then here is the insert that goes into the baluster. And I'll show you how that's done. And here is the top that can go into the top of the banister. So here Will is drilling a hole in the bottom of the banister, and he's going to put this bottom plug, and here you can see all the plugs for this section inserted. So here I'm showing you the cut baluster and the insert with the screw, which will allow the baluster to be inserted into the top banister. And here is the bottom of the banister. I have the tape so it doesn't scratch the wood. I insert that screw into the bottom plug that was there. I also have the shoe because once you twist it so it's tight, you need to make sure your shoe is on it. This is a straight shoe that I'm using, and I'm moving the tape so that when I tighten the screw, I won't have any tape under it. So you continue twisting until it's tight, and then here I'm tightening the shoe so that it does not move. Here, Will is also putting in a baluster and twisting it until it's tight, along with a straight shoe. So we continued downstairs and used the same process, but a little bit different. The balusters were smaller and the shoe was slanted, and it was a little bit more challenging to drill the holes for the bottom plugs because they were at a slant. But we persevered and put in the straight and the double squared balusters, and we completed the hard work there, and we were happy with it, so we stood by it and liked the final product. So I wanted to give you a couple of helpful hints and also the cost and how much time it took us to do this project. But I would appreciate if you would take a moment and subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. So a couple of helpful hints. First of all, safety is definitely a concern because you're removing balusters and you might even be removing the banister. And so those are your supports for going up and down the stairs. So that's definitely something to consider. Also, removing the banisters after, removing the screws, you also have to consider that you might have caulking and paint, and even some of the banister might be under some of the drywall, so it might be a little bit challenging to get out. You might need an X-Acto knife to kind of cut some of the caulk and paint out. Removing banisters, it is a good idea to kind of take a pencil where the interface is between the banisters so you can kind of line it back up when you have to put the screws in. Work in one section at a time. We started with the least visible spot, which was up at the top of the stairs. So being that we've never done it before, we knew there was going to be a little bit of a learning curve, and we didn't want that to be front and center as you come into the house. The layout, it's important to kind of lay out if you have a unique design that you're going to put in your balusters. I have the double squares. It's important to kind of lay that out, and I kind of indicated where those were with a pink slip of paper. If you do have a design, again with our double squares, it was important to make sure the design was in the center. So we had to cut both sides of the baluster, the top and the bottom. With the straight ones, we just cut the bottom. So it's important to try and keep that centered so your design looks correct. Drilling in the slanted section was a little bit more challenging because you still have to have your baluster go up and down. So it might be a good practice to practice on a piece of wood that you have slanted so you don't mess up your steps and stairway. And lastly, just be organized. There's a lot of components when you're removing screws, kind of put them together. Also keep your screw covers, the little wooden pieces over top of it. Your shoes, the slanted shoes separate from the horizontal shoes. Just kind of keep your area organized because it makes working with this a little bit easier. As far as cost, we have 52 balusters that we replaced. It cost about $600 for the balusters along with the shoes, both the straight and the slanted shoes. In addition, we used the tap and twist, and that cost about $70 for 30 of them. And of course, we had 52, so we needed two boxes of them. So that was $140. I think the cost was about less than $1,000. So I appreciate you watching. Please subscribe to the channel and hit the like button, and we'll talk to you next time. Thanks.